Coding can be fun and very rewarding if you build something visual. So that's what we're going to do. Rather than coding some abstract algorithm and printing hello world to the console, we're going to draw shapes. And eventually we'll be able to build cool things like this Slither.io game. And you can go ahead and just pause the video right here and play around with it.
Oh wow, this is really cool. And just for those watching on YouTube right now, you can interact with the code in these videos. But obviously you can't do that on YouTube. But if you do want to do that, click the link in the description and you can watch it on my site.
So let's get started. What is the first shape that we will draw? Well, we can start drawing by typing circle. Now, after we type circle, we need a parenthesis. Now, inside of the parenthesis, we need to give this word circle that we typed some inputs. And those inputs are going to be 200, 200, and 200. And look at that, you've drawn a circle. So how does this work? Well, in this circle, or the word circle here is actually a function that's been predefined. And we'll learn about what those are later. But for now, all you need to know is that this function does something. And in this case, it does something using the inputs we give it. And those inputs are these numbers, 200, 200, and 200. Now, it's very important to notice that these inputs have to be separated by a comma, because if we don't add a comma, the circle function has no way of telling the difference between these three numbers. All right, so we've put 200 and 200 and 200, but what do these mean? So the first 200 is the x position. And if you've ever done geometry, you'll know that x and y form a grid. So if we change the first number to, say, 100, it moves to the left. And if we set it to 0, it's all the way on the left. So we can know that this number, if we set it to 0, it starts on the left, and if we increase it, it'll go to the right. This is our x coordinate. And then the second number is much the same. It is our y coordinate. And if we set it to 0, it'll go to the top of the screen. And if we set it to 200, it'll go to the middle. And 400, it'll go to the bottom. And if you're on a phone, you might need to close the code a bit to be able to see it. But yeah, so let's put these back to 200 and 200 to put it in the center of the screen. Now we can resize our circle with this final number, which is the diameter of the circle. So if we set it to something like 10, it'll be really small. And if we set it to something like 1400, you won't even be able to see it. But if we set it to something like 400, it'll fill the entire screen. Awesome. So let's draw something. Taking this normal circle, let's draw another circle on top of it with, I don't know, position 50 and 50 and 50, something random. Okay, top left. So let's move it to, I don't know, make a face. So let's increase this to 150 on the X, 150 on the Y, and let's make the eye just a bit bigger. Cool. And then let's move it down a tiny bit more. Perfect. So we've just drawn two circles. Now, it's very important that you put the circle for the eye after the circle for the face, because if we try to draw the eye first, it gets covered by the face. And you can see this if you delete the code for the face. The eye is still there. So we need to put the code for the eye after the face. All right, let's draw one more eye. And I'm just going to do 150 and, I don't know, 180 and, oh, let's see, 50. So this could actually serve as a pupil. I just typed in random numbers that were similar to the first circle, but this is actually looking pretty good. So let's draw another circle for the second eye, and we're going to do 150, or actually, since this is the X position, we know that it'll move more to the right if we increase it. So let's just say 200, and then let's say 180, and then we have to give it a size. Perfect. And we don't actually want the Y position that high, so there, nope, 170. And then it's not far enough, so let's increase this again, and there you go. So we've almost drawn a face, but I want you to actually complete this. You can actually pause this video right here and draw the second pupil. So go ahead, do that, pause.
All right, I'm actually recording this from the website and posting it on YouTube, so I can complete this challenge. I'm just gonna type circle 250, I don't know, 180, 70. Oh, pretty good. Okay. Let's see. I just need to decrease the size to 50, and there we go. I did it. Let's click play again.
All right, so hopefully you did that. And if you didn't, that's totally fine. But I definitely recommend you try these challenges because you'll get a lot better at coding by actually practicing it. All right, so I'm going to finish this face, and I'm just going to draw circle, circle, and this is going to be 150 and 170. I don't know, 100.
And since I already did the challenge, I'm just going to scroll down here and skip forward. There we go.
Just use a circle for a mouth. Let's say put it at 200 in the X and 200 in the Y, and I don't know, 70. It doesn't look like a mouth. It looks like a nose, and we'll get to the nose in a second. But we need more shapes than just a circle. So we can actually bring in a new shape called ellipse. An ellipse does the same thing as circle. In fact, it is quite literally a circle, but we can give it a separate height and width. So if we do an additional number here, like 180, whoa, now the height is 180 and the width of the circle is 70. So let's try to make this look more like a face by doing, I don't know, 50 and 10. There we go. And then we just need to move it down. So if you remember, the second number is Y, so 250. Nope, 250. There we go. We've got a mouth. All right, now let's do two more shapes. For the nose, actually want it to be a square. So we're gonna literally just type square. And we can do, I don't know, 200, 200, 20, and 20. And that's pretty close, and it's not actually drawing a square. I'm not sure why. That is super strange. Why would it be doing that? Oh, there we go. It's drawing a square now. So that last number actually does something special. It's rounding the corners of our square. So let's actually just use that. I discovered it unintentionally just now, but hey, let's use it. So the X and Y is exactly in the center, but the nose is offset. It's not in the center. Well, that's because the position of the square is based on the top left of the square. So in that top left corner is where this position is being set to. So we actually need to decrease it by the X position by about half of its current size. So we can just do minus 10. And you can literally do that. You can just say minus 10 and the code will do the math for you. But we know that's 190, so we'll just do that. All right. And now let's learn our final shape. And we're gonna do a hat for this shape. This is called a which is short for rectangle. So for the rectangle, it's very much like the square. We can just do 200, 200, and let's do 80 and 20. And you'll see it draws a rectangle. And the way it does this is by the same as a square. In the top left corner, it starts drawing the square, and then it gives it a width of 80 and a height of 20. So we can modify the position in the Y to be, I don't know, 150, a little bit less, 120, 110, 100. There we go, perfect. All right, and then the X position, we're just gonna bring it over to 100, perfect. And then we can make the width of the square 200 to fit the full face. And finally, the height to 20. Oh, that's not 20, that's, no, sorry, not 20, 30. Perfect. And this kind of looks like it's squishing his head, so let's actually move it up a tiny bit more by decreasing the Y value. And there we go, something that looks like a hat. Let's see if I can fix this. Maybe 150 and 125. There we go. I mean, it still just looks like a brick on his head, but hey, we drew something and it's awesome. So now I want to challenge you to actually click the modify button below this video and try to make your own unique face. And whenever you make that face, you can then share it for the rest of the world to see if, you want to, and it'll actually show up as a modified version of this video. So I hope you guys had fun, and I'll see you in the next one.